Hello everybody out in YouTube land. Hope y'all doing good today. Everything's going good here. I'm cooking with my Instapot, so I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just throwing in some leftovers, whatever I have, and see if it turns out good. First, I'm sauteing some ground beef. I put some seasoned salt, and I'm going to look and see if I have any onion. I'll put some onions in there. So when you're sauteing with your Instapot, if it gets too hot, you start noticing it's just getting ahead of itself. You know, it's like a pan with saute. So I just turn it off and then turn it on again and keep the temperature so it's not, burning it. Yep, I found an onion, so I chopped up a little bit. Oh, I love how the chopped onions makes the ground beef smell when you're cooking it. Good. Steam on the lens. Okay. Now I'm turning off the saute. Here I have some leftover baked beans. These were really good. They were baked beans with maple syrup. So I'm throwing those in. And I got a can of chili with beans. And I've got some, I got some olives here. You know, I put olives in all kinds of weird things, and that's always good. I don't know why, olives are just always good in everything. Okay, I got it all stirred up. I'm going to put on pressure cook for, let's see, how many minutes? 6 minutes. Basically everything in there is cooked. So let's just heat it up and melding together the flavors. There is a young couple that I watch on YouTube called Gone with the Winds, W-Y-N-N-S. And they're a young couple that are traveling around the world in a sailboat. Originally they were RVers and they traveled all over the country in their RV. But then they decided to go in a sailboat. So for Christmas last year, they decided to put their boat in Tonga, and they were going to fly home for Christmas and the holidays, and then they were going to come back. Well, on the way back, they were stranded in Fiji. They were in Fiji for 6 months. They were quarantined there. Nobody could go in or out of Fiji at that time. So they were waiting and waiting, and they kept making videos about all the interesting things going on in Fiji. I mean, if you're going to be stuck somewhere, Fiji's probably a pretty nice place to be stuck. But it was sure frustrating for them, and they kept writing letters and trying to get the authorities to allow them to go to Tonga and get their boat. But it finally happened for them. Everything went through. They went through all the quarantines, all the tests, and they are now back in Tonga working on their boat, getting it back in shape so they can finish their trip around the world. So I thought that was really a beautiful victory for 2020. Again, Gone with the Winds, W-Y-N-N-S. Another really cool victory that I've seen on YouTube during 2020 is there is a man who drives around. He's a nomad and he is a camper. He drives in a old blue van. And so the name of his channel is Blue Van Dan. And for years and years, he's been trying to sell a piece of property in Northern California, and he hasn't to no avail. It's a beautiful piece of property. It's got all kinds of fruit trees and just beautiful. But for some reason, it has never sold until this year. He finally sold his property this year, and he's off on his journeys. Again, Blue Van Dan. You might check out his channel. He's got a victory story for 2020. And one last victory story for the year 2020. My story this year, ever since I started thinking about and planning travel in a car, when I heard that people could travel in a car and camp on BLM land and in the national forests, I thought, wow, I can go and explore our country. Because up till then, it's expensive, even at the cheapest motels. If you go to a place, you stay there a couple nights, you can't really get a feel for the town and get a feel for the area. But when I heard that, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. It was years ago. You can check back on all my YouTubes. Anyway, this year everything came together for me in Sedona, Arizona. Sedona is the place I was looking for. I started out looking for a summer home for a snowbird because I was just about ready to retire from being a dog groomer, and I knew I was looking for a place to spend the summers. I originally am from Colorado, so I thought my first thought is Colorado. So I got to check out a lot of towns in Colorado that I had never been to before when I was growing up. I got to check out so many towns up in northern Arizona and so many towns up in northern California. So for me, 2020 was the year of victory because I found my summer home. Well, I got another one planted here, and I've been putting numbers on them so I can remember what I planted. There's something really small coming up right here. Let's see if I can point to it. Right there. See it? So cute. I like the sound of the water dripping into little buckets because it's the sound of recycling. It's the sound of saving water, which is really important here in Southern California. There's some seedlings growing here. Some in the back. This one I haven't filled up yet. Seedlings. I still have some more buckets to plant over here. And since these are wooden tables, I tried to prop each one up on something so maybe not so much water will get on the wood. This one I've got almost half ready. Just needs a little bit more soil and some potting mixture. The pansies are doing really well. You can see they're starting to get new leaves. And the snapdragons too. See the new little leaves here? So I think they're going to make it. The calendula is looking pretty. Well, the beans turned out really good. And now we have this beautiful pink and blue sunset. The pine trees did really well this year, even in the heat. It's amazing. That's it for today, guys. We'll see you next time. Remember, Jesus loves you. He's the exact image of the invisible God. He'll never leave you or forsake you. He gives you your life and your breath.